The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Game junkie, Gerard Campbell.
Since the dawn of time, the armies of heaven and hell have waged an endless war. Drawn to the conflict was the Charred Council, an entity bound by ancient laws to preserve order and balance. It held that any great power, unchecked, threatened the very fabric of the universe. In time, heaven and hell came to honor the Council and its laws, for none were beyond the swift and terrible justice of the Council's enforcers.
Goodness me, boy, that's a trailer there. That's an intro. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a new game called Darksiders. I think it's across multi-platforms, but the man to tell us all about it is Gerard Campbell from stuff.co.nz, Game Junkie NZ on Twitter as well. Gerard, hello and welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here as always, Wammo.
Yes, the fight between heaven and hell.
Yes, well, I mean, it's a classic tale, isn't it? And I mean, and Darksiders really sort of came under the radar for me because I saw bits of it at E3 last year, and initially thought it seemed to be a cross of God of War, Devil May Cry. So it's that sort of same combat, that sort of thing. But I guess it's a poetic license take on the Book of Revelation and the whole apocalypse thing. With it's said in the trailer there with battle between heaven and hell, and the Charred Council, which is the sort of mediating body between heaven and hell and earth, and something goes wrong, and there's this massive battle between heaven and hell, and War, who's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, gets sent down to earth too early, according to him, and he, swings his big sword and causes havoc and stuff as he does, and plunges the earth into apocalypse, and the Charred Council is not really very happy about that, and so they, I guess they put him in sort of exile, and 100 years later they send him back to Earth, and he has to find out, how the battle between heaven and hell, how the apocalypse started early, and chase down this demon thing called the Destroy, who I think, sort of, I guess, parallels with the devil probably, and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's if you're a fan of God of War and bloodthirsty combat and big swords and that sort of thing, there you're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it.
So you're saying this character that they've introduced into this game has to get to the bottom of what's going on?
Yeah, he does. Well, because because War sort of came to Earth before he should have, because I guess the Book of Revelation and the four horsemen of the apocalypse, they're the ones who, when Earth is about to be destroyed and heaven and hell have their battle, these are the guys that come through and I guess clean things up, and they, I guess, serve out justice to the evil and that sort of thing. And he's come down early, so he says that he got the call to come down, and the Charred Council said no, you didn't. So there seems to be their main
no, you didn't.
Oh, no, you didn't. Exactly. You didn't. What are you talking about, hell? So, he's got to come down and sort out why he came down early and sort of get to the bottom. And I guess, in some ways it's almost like a little detective story, because he has to find out what demons are behind, bringing the apocalypse early. And the story's good, but I think that the thing that really surprised me about it was that the story's not particularly deep, but the combat is really satisfying. It's big swords, and he's got combo moves, and there's big. I mean, some of the demons that he has to face off are absolutely huge big things, and it's just it's one of those games that you can actually just get into the combat and not have to worry about 22 plot twists coming in, after 3 hours, and side stories and side missions. The goal is simple. War has to go from location to location, and it takes place in an apocalyptic Earth. So, you've got buildings that are crumbling, and you've got mutant zombies, and you've got and he also has to face off against angels as well, because of course heaven's sending down angels to mop up those demons that are left on the planet.
Right.
So War has to take care of the angels as well. So he's facing off against demons and angels and giant dragons and monsters with huge big claws, and it's just
because you say the combat is satisfying, but what sets it apart from equivalent games that kind of look the same, where you've got the camera perspective is up behind the character and you've got a sword and a shield? What sets it apart from the rest?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't, because it's taking that same third-person perspective.
Yeah.
And your combat is, like, I'm playing on the Xbox version, and for your sword, you're pressing your X button basically, X, chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
And if you hold the X down, he'll do a big sort of an undercut. I guess it's a cut up the middle of a monster sort of thing. So and then as he progresses, you can much like in God of War. Every time that he kills an enemy, he collects souls. You see the souls, and they can come out of chests as well. And then he can use those souls to purchase new weapon combos or moves from this shady demon called Vulgrim, who I guess he's almost like a black market dealer. He'll sell weapons. And you can upgrade your weapon to a big scythe, and like a grenade launcher. So really, if you broke it down, it doesn't do anything different from games like God of War, where you've got to go from A to B, you've got monsters to kill between the middle, you've got combat, you've got you can grab guys, you can smash them onto the ground. So I think what it does is that it takes little bits from some of those great games, and incorporates them exceedingly well. And I think it revels in the fact that it's not particularly original, but it's satisfying in the fact that it's almost paying homage to those other games that have gone before it. But if you're going in thinking, expecting something groundbreaking, you're certainly not going to get it here. But I think what you're going to get is you're going to get a satisfying story, and combat that's going to keep you on your toes, and just really. If you're a fan of hack and slash, then you're going to really enjoy this. So,
does it hold your interest? Is it the sort of game you want to finish? You want to get to the end of?
I think so. There's certain points in the middle that it does get slightly repetitive, because you've got to backtrack to rooms, and I think the downside of a lot of games like this is that sometimes you have to go, 2 steps forward to get a key, and then you've got to go 2 steps back to go and unlock a door, and then you've got to repeat the same sort of thing. But I think that the story is interesting enough for me to want to find out at the end, how the apocalypse happened early. So I think that the story it's got enough of a grip on you to actually want you to finish it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the game that we've just been looking at is called Darksiders, and you say it's multi-platform, so that's Xbox, obviously, because you're playing on the Xbox. What else?
Xbox 360 and PS3. I'm not sure whether it's on Windows PC, but I certainly know that it's PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Certainly those two consoles, yeah, definitely.
And just over the next week, anything else you're going to be looking forward to playing?
This week, well, of course, I think it's next week, or it could be end of this week, we've got Mass Effect 2, which is, it's a hugely anticipated role-playing sort of action game from BioWare, which, of course, one of the great sort of role-playing game companies ever. So that's coming out this week. But, I've still got at home, I've got things like Bayonetta, which is a really, that's an interesting, it's a Japanese, from Capcom, I think, and it's, it's an interesting take on a witch who can do all these acrobatic moves and demons and more demons. Yeah. All
right, excellent, Gerard Campbell. If people want to chat with you more about what you've been playing, they can hit you up on Twitter, twitter.com/GameJunkieNZ, and also over at the blog up at stuff.co.nz. Just look under the technology section and join in the conversation there as well. Game Junkie. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you very much.